Welcome into another episode of your WCPO High School Insider podcast. Look who's back.
Hey,
it's Keenan.
Hey. My suspension is over. I'm glad to be back. My 2-week suspension from the pod is over. I'm glad to be back. I said some rude stuff a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for having me back, Mike.
How about that? How was that Florida trip? That was nice.
It was great, but I did miss the high school football here. It looks like I missed some crazy results. It was a hot weekend. A lot of great football here in the Tri-State. I'm glad to be back.
Well, hey, glad you're back here. Obviously, we are talking high school football today, and pleased to be joined by 3 area head coaches along with some area players as well. We're going to be talking to Talawanda's Larry Cox, Walnut Hills coach Gerry Beauchamp, and Cincinnati College Prep's Jeremy Pflug right here on the High School Insider podcast. But first, I want to remind everybody, and remind you too, Keenan, this High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants where the winning play is always chicken. Download the app today for extra points.
As if I wasn't hungry enough. Thank you for that reminder.
We have to get lunch in here sometime. We're going to have to get that going maybe by week 6 or week 7 here. But anyways, this podcast always can be found on Google Play, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. Want to welcome in Talawanda head coach Larry Cox and sophomore running back and cornerback DeAndre Bothus-Reveille. Guys, welcome to the WCPO High School Insider podcast. Appreciate you taking a few minutes.
Appreciate you having us.
Well, Talawanda is 4-0 for the first time since the 91 season when the Brave went 10-0 in the regular season and 11-1 overall. Actually defeated Princeton back in that season, the first round of the playoffs, and lost to Centerville in the second round. But it's been quite an interesting start, very successful start for the Brave, obviously. And, Coach, I just want to ask you, what do you like most about this group 4 weeks into the season?
Well, this group has always been a pretty hardworking group. That's the one thing that is always going to give you a chance at success. The second thing I like about this group is they're a pretty tight-knit bunch. They play well together. And that's always going to give you a chance. And then lastly, they're a good practice group. When you show up as a coach, one of your measuring sticks is, all right, how do these kids practice each day? You enjoy as a coach going out to coach them and be on the field with them. And they've been a great group. So those 3 things, I think, have really, really given us the impetus to have a chance for success each week. Ultimately, you still got to go out and execute and do what you're asked to do. And these kids have done that. They've really done a great job of just listening and learning and not looking too far ahead or, not looking behind them either. So as long as we can keep that up, everything will keep going well.
DeAndre, Coach has given all the credit to the players, obviously, but I want to ask you what the coaching staff has brought to this program. This team was 5-35 since the 2015 season before Coach Cox took over last December. Tell us about the culture of this program right now.
The culture has really changed from last year to this year. This year is like in practice, we always go 100% every play. We never take any plays off at practice. And I think that's one of the main things that has changed from last year to this year to help us.
DeAndre, I don't want to big you up a little bit too much, but let's just kind of run down this kid's stats. He's sophomore, 4.0 GPA, captain as a sophomore, 45 carries for 365 yards. You've got the 4.0 GPA. I'll let you break down the numbers for me on that. 6 touchdowns, 8 tackles, and an interception on defense. And you got the Skype working for Coach as we kind of got this thing started.
Biggest accomplishment of them all.
Yeah, DeAndre, I don't want to say were you surprised by the start of this group this year, but 4-0 after kind of a rocky, last couple of years. Are you surprised at all by the early season success you guys have had this far?
I'm not really surprised. I kind of expected it this year. I feel like we've always had the right pieces, and then this year it just all clicked, and now we're just moving forward.
You talk about the community there in Oxford, DeAndre, just how everybody is really buying into this program, and obviously success will bring a new chapter or a new journey for a lot of people around the football program. I mean, talk about just the support, maybe what you're hearing from your classmates, your teammates, your friends, just everyone out there in the Oxford community.
We've always had a great community behind us. They've always supported us and helped us and sponsored us and all that stuff. And then for the classroom, people are excited to go to the games on Fridays now. We're not like, let's go to the game, not many people are going to show up. So, it's just all changed. But the community has always been the same. They've always been behind us.
maybe a little too early to start thinking postseason, but I'm curious, are you dangling that carrot at all at this point, Larry? You guys are 4-0. Are you talking postseason? I mean, I would think that would be a distinct goal, but are you guys talking about it at all at this point?
No, and that's the biggest thing that we try to – actually, we really don't talk about winning and losing. We talk about what we have to do to be successful, the process that it takes to get there. Can we improve 2 to 3% each week? And if we're doing that curve, everything will take care of itself. The wins and losses, all that will take care of itself, because I think a lot of times when you put the emphasis and the focus on just winning, and that's what the kids think about. Well, I don't want them thinking about just winning. I want them thinking about, what do you have to do on wing right Texas even toss, or whether it's, dime and there's a defensive scheme, or our defensive coordinator, Coach Fisher, he'll have a scheme. I want them thinking about those things, and then that way the rest will take care of itself from there.
I know you have a lot of standouts on this team, Coach. Tell us about some of these other guys that really stood out for you on both sides of the ball.
Well, that's been, the neat part, coming back here and having kids be two-way players is a different deal. So, we've got, just from our captains alone, Luke Richardson, who's a defensive back and a wide receiver, Dalton Norris, who's a tight end and a linebacker, Adam Crank, who's our quarterback, but he also, everybody learns both sides of the ball because you never know. So that's been a great part, and I think that's really helped us. And then obviously Terrell Wills, who's our leading rusher, and he's also the outside linebacker. Between him and DeAndre, it's sort of been, a nice two-headed monster, if you would, to say, okay, how's that gone? But these two will be the first to tell you. I think the biggest development I've seen from when we started camp to this point has been our offensive line, because they've come a long way at developing themselves and learning sort of how we do things, because it is a little different. But they've done a great job with it, and I think that's really been a catalyst. And there's a couple kids that go both ways in that. Nathan Dethridge, Clayton Dethridge is another two-way player for us. And I know I'm probably, Kyle Campbell, he's our inside linebacker and fullback. So, there's a lot of kids, but there's a few that when you go both ways at this level, it is a different deal and requires sort of a different conditioning level, but the kids seem to handle it really, really well. And I think it really keeps them, focused on the game.
Before we let you go, a significant Southwest Ohio Conference game Friday night at Little Miami, 3-1 Panthers. Obviously, narrowly lost to Mount Healthy in overtime last week. But Coach, what do you see the keys being for Friday night? That is.
Well, they're a very, very good team. They've had sustained success. Coach Jones is doing a great job with them. Their offense, is led by Brody Reed. What a great quarterback he is. He does a great job, and whether it's running or throwing, and he can do either or. As I look at them, they're a very programmed team. They do what they're coached to do, and I think that's what makes them good. Is you don't have individual stars trying to take over. They all play within the scheme. Defensively, they're not a big group, but gosh, are they fast and aggressive, and they play well as a unit. And each week I always tell our kids, the team that blocks the best, tackles the best, and wins the turnover battle wins 99% of the time. And I think this is going to be one of those games that comes down to the same thing. You've just got to be able to do the little things. But, it's a big test for us, obviously. I mean, no matter our record, people are still going to look at us thinking, okay, what's coming? We'll be the underdog going in here, and that's okay. We just want to go out. And as I tell our kids, it doesn't matter who we play, it matters how we play. And as long as we take care of that, the results will take care of itself.
Sophomore running back and cornerback DeAndre, both as Reveille and head coach Larry Cox, we appreciate your time and best of luck to the Brave going forward this season.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys, on your start.
Thanks.
Well, I want to remind everybody this High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Go for the extra point with a side of their new macaroni and cheese, and obviously a a fast start there for Coach Cox and Talawanda, and you got to feel happy for what Coach has been doing there in Oxford. And we want to bring in Walnut Hills head coach Gerry Beauchamp and senior running back Tyrese Thorne to talk about the Eagles' success, a 3-1 start to the season. Guys, how are you doing today?
Good. Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for your patience there. And, Coach, just wanted to ask you a little bit about the win over Milford last week. 321 yards rushing in that 35-7 win over Milford. What was the biggest key to not only the success offensively, but I know your defense really has been playing lights out.
Yeah. Our defense played extremely well. We had 6 turnovers as well in the game, so that was huge. Just kind of kept them off the field, kept our offense on the field. And then, our guys up front, they're just really physical. And, we talk about it all the time, just the game's won up front. And if we're going to win, we have to continue to dominate teams up front. And I really liked how our offensive line played, opened up holes. They just don't stop. They play to the whistle, which is how the game's supposed to be played. And then we got some really special athletes running the ball behind those guys. So, I think if we can continue to run the football and play great defense and then also play great on special teams, good things will happen.
Tyrese, obviously, 137 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, and I want to talk about his performance here in a second. But, Coach, I know you have a lot of highly recruited offensive linemen there for you this season. Talk about some of those guys who have really contributed to that running attack.
Yeah, so Mal Glenn is a junior. He plays a right guard spot. Big, strong, and really moves well. We had UC's offensive line coach came in here Friday before the game, and Mal walked in the office, and when he walked back out, he's like, I forget how good he looks in person. He really he carries his weight well. He's really strong and physical. And then next to him at right tackle is Hank Perry, who has a Toledo offer. Again, nice sized kid. Hank's like 6'5". Really has come a long way. Hank came in last year as a sophomore and had to start for us midway through the season due to an injury. And his development has just been really great. And then at center we have, Eric Meeks. Sorry. Thinking about too many things
no
here.
Problem.
Eric Meeks, who has a martial offer. He's just a really smart player for us. He makes all the line calls up front. If they give us a certain look up front, Eric knows what to do with it. And then Ayub Adil on the other side of him is just a junior, is playing really well. And then we have our lone senior at left tackle, who's been offered by Dayton. So all those guys playing really well for us.
Tyrese, I see you smiling anytime this offensive line is brought up. 11 touchdowns on the year rushing and then another touchdown receiving-wise. You just got to be licking your lips anytime you hit the field, I guess, with these guys in front of you.
Yeah, I love my whole line, man. Every time I score, I make sure we celebrate together, man. Everything that I've done is always through them, and I always let them know that.
This season for you, 3-1, coming off a big win off of Milford, a program that's obviously led by Tom Grippa, a legend in his own right in this area. What does a win like that do for this program moving forward next week, into West Claremont on Friday night?
Well, yeah, Tom, I've known Tom for a while now. And, we both coached at LaSalle and had some good teams there. And, we've talked about stuff like that. And Tom's a outstanding coach. Like you said, he's a legend. And, I think it just goes to show our team that, you're getting coached well too, and we're us coaches will put in the time for you guys. They deserve that. They work extremely hard. So I think it just all goes back to that. And there's a trust. We trust our kids and they trust our staff, and things have really just come together over the last couple of years.
Tyrese, remind our audience, did you score 7 touchdowns in a game last year?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Sorry, our last game of the season, actually, it was our last conference game against Withrow High School. I scored technically 9, but 2 got called back.
Okay.
So.
Were they legit? Should they have been called back, or should you have had the full 9?
It was like penalties after I've already scored, but it's whatever.
That's all right.
So you're no stranger to the end zone, obviously. Coach, what has Tyrese meant to this program?
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Not only is he a good athlete and a really great running back, but his leadership. He's the captain for us. He helps hold guys accountable. He's fiery. He goes hard in practice. The way he practices is the way he plays on Friday nights, and he sets that example for our young kids, our team in general. And if guys make mistakes or there's a lack of focus, and he sees that, he's going to call guys out, which, we always talk about with our kids. The biggest impediment to leadership is fear of confrontation. And Tyrese does that in the right way with our kids, and they respond. So that's been critical.
Tyrese, 2011 is the last time this program has gone to the postseason. 2011, you probably are still watching Nick Jr. or something like that, I would assume, back then in those days. What would it mean to lead this program back to the postseason at Walnut Hills?
I mean, it would mean a lot. Freshman year, I was at Gamble Montessori High School, and we didn't have a winning record then. I haven't played in the playoffs in high school, so my senior year getting into the postseason, it would mean a lot to this program and to my team.
Well, senior running back Tyrese Dorn and Walnut Hills head football coach Gerry Beauchamp, we appreciate your time and perspective, and best of luck to the Eagles going forward.
Well, yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Good luck
guys.
the rest of the season, guys.
All right, thank you.
Now I want to talk Cincinnati College Prep football with head coach Jeremy Pflug.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Thanks for joining us.
Jeremy, good to see you again, man. I haven't seen you since the Aiken days.
Thank you. Good to see you guys, too.
Thanks for joining us. Obviously, Cincinnati College Prep defeated Clark Montessori 32-0 last week, and your team plays host to Laughlin Friday night. Number 3 in the Division 7, Region 28 computer points rankings this week, and want to talk about what you like most about this team right now, Coach. 2-0 for the first time in program history. You're 3-1 right now. What's working so well on both sides of the ball?
I think, honestly, just our the ability to kind of start winning football games, the love for the game, and for our kids to just understand that there's a total buy-in for what we're doing here at the school. It's creating a culture here at CCPA that, from what our principal and everyone says, has never been seen. So it's just really exciting time to be here at CCPA, and really that's what it is. Our kids have just bought in, and they're 100% go.
Give us some background about Cincinnati College Prep and the football program, and just how many years it's been going on, and maybe just kind of the foundation of what this program is built upon.
For sure, yeah. Coach Poole started the program when he was here. I think it's only been here for about 15 years. We're right here on Lynn. To be honest with you, we're battling with Taft High School every day for kids right here on Lynn Street, right here in the West End area. For us, it's been, Taft's got a great program, and kids have to choose. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to Taft High School and play in the playoffs every year, or do you want to come to CCPA? And so for us, like we keep telling our kids every day, you get an opportunity to build a foundation that can last forever. When we go to the playoffs, kids will start staying here, and they'll start wanting to be here. And we feel really fortunate, really excited. We say every day, it's a great day to be a Lion.
Do you love having that, looking at your resume and just knowing you a bit from Aiken and some of the other places you've been? It seems like you're a program builder. Is that something that attracted you to this particular job?
Yeah, kind of. Actually, I stepped in as the JV basketball head coach this year. Just kind of fell in love with the place. The kids are fantastic down here. I don't know. It was one of those things where I was looking around to see what I wanted to do, and the kids were like, "Coach, you're gonna stay, right? You're gonna stay." And I fell in love with the place. I love being here, and I love the challenge. And it's great to come to work every day with a smile on your face and be excited about where you're at. And that's what makes football so much more exciting, is that I know I'm with kids that love me and love what we're doing here. And it's reciprocal. I love them and love what we're doing here.
What's D7 football? I don't think a lot of people get a chance to go to a D7 football game on a Friday night. Kind of walk us through what a D7 football atmosphere, a game is like. How big is your roster? What's the varsity roster look like?
Yeah, we've got like 35 kids on our roster, and which is kind of funny because you think, 35 is not a lot, but I think we have 70 boys in the entire high school. So over half our boys are actually on the football team. And so it just makes it, one of those things where the kids are all excited. They're all involved. Everyone from kindergarten through 12th grade, they're all involved. They love being it. Teachers are out there, parents are out there, and it's just really exciting for our school.
I know your sophomore quarterback, Mark Smith, has had an outstanding season. What's made him so effective for you guys?
He's just a dual threat athlete. He's got a different gear than a lot of people have. He hits the corner, and he's very shifty, very smart with the ball, and he listens and just works. He's the first person on the field, last person off the field, and he's just constantly, Coach, what are we going to do now? What can we do to improve this? What can we do to improve that? So he was one of the first ones in the weight room this year, and when we started, summer ball, he was there every night, making sure that he was working, and he's become a better passer as we started along. The running aspect was always there, but now he's just getting those reads down, and it's showing on the field.
Who are some other guys who have really stepped up for you guys?
To be honest with you, our offensive line is fantastic, but you wouldn't know that. You'd look at him and you go, what is that? We have, Dante Shields. He's small. He's probably about 160 pounds, but he's playing right tackle for us. And he's just a grinder and loves what he's doing. Another guy's our receiver, Antonio Hammond. He's a senior this year, and he's kind of exploded on the scene. Just an overall leader. Works hard every single day. Again, one of those people is first out and last in. And, that's just kind of become the model of our kids. We'll end practice and we'll look up and people are running extra laps because we know we only have 35 kids and they know our conditioning is got to be peak.
160-pound right tackle. I think I got to come out and check out a CCP game. That's something I would love to see. And just the buy-in, 35 kids, 70 kids total in the school. I mean, that shows you that these kids really want to play.
It's authentic right there. Yeah.
But,
Jeremy, really appreciate your time, and best of luck to the Lions going forward.
Thanks, gentlemen. Restore the roar.
All right, good to see you again, Jeremy.
Hey, guys.
Cincinnati College Prep coach Jeremy Pflug joining us here on the WCPO High School Insider podcast. Well, our game of the week, Fairfield at Lakota West, the GMC matchup. Keenan, I tell you what, I'm looking at these Joe Idol unofficial rankings, which frankly they are official.
They're pretty close, yeah.
The OHSA uses Joe's data as an independent contractor, and so you're looking at the number 2 team and the number 3 team, Fairfield at number 2 and Lakota West at number 3 in Division I, Region 4, and you talk about this GMC race to the finish here and the standings. I mean, right now it's still too early to call, but boy, oh boy, this can go a long way. Friday night, I think it's going to be a star matchup of 2 outstanding running backs. Fairfield's Jaton McLean rushed for 206 yards last week, 3rd time in his career he's rushed for over 200 yards, and then Lakota West senior David Afari, 187 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. He's going to Miami University. Jaton is going to the University of Kentucky. I think it's going to be a fabulous night.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games that might be over by like 8:15 because both of these guys
running the football is in our favor.
We really love that, but I mean it's a great coaching matchup as well. Obviously, Tom Bolden has gone over to Lakota West. Jason Krause over at Fairfield, who's bounced around, one of the best coaches. Maybe not as celebrated as some of the other coaches in the area, but churns out talent and wins year after year after year at Fairfield. So it's maybe not an easy selection as our game of the week, but it's definitely a game that I will have some eyes on because that's a superstar matchup.
Definitely. A couple other games just of note, a big Cincinnati Hills League matchup this week. Wyoming 4-0 at undefeated 4-0 Marymount. And, everybody talks about Wyoming and the 35-game regular season winning streak, which is tops in the state of Ohio in any division. And we can talk so much about Evan Prater.
We're not going to. I've already.
But Marymount, you got to give a lot of credit to Coach Curry Cummins. This is back-to-back seasons of 4-0 starts. And talked to him this morning, and he said, hey, we really have nothing to lose against the Cowboys. We're a Division V program. We have about 30, mid-30s as far as participation numbers. I think Wyoming had 62 players this summer. Yeah. And we're within the same conference, Wyoming's Division IV, obviously the defending state champions. But give a lot of credit to Marymount because I think they're playing really well. And looking at their junior running back, Seth Green, 3 consecutive weeks over 100-plus rushing yards. And so you're going to have a tall task Friday night, but certainly anytime you get 2 undefeated teams almost at the midway point of the season, it's going to be something to watch.
And Wyoming, sorry to piggyback on that, Wyoming, while they are still undefeated, they have that 35-game winning streak. They've been in some close games this year. They've had some games that
gave them all they could handle.
They've gone down to the wire. So, not saying that they're going to get knocked off this week in any way, shape, or form, but they may not be the unbeatable Titans that some people believe that they are.
I think Coach Aaron Hancock would enjoy that challenge. I mean, it's all about getting yourself prepared for the playoffs and having a quarterback as talented as Evan Prater. Who's going to the All-American Bowl. I mean, in that offense. And Jupe Mitchell is another outstanding wide receiver, one of the favorite targets of Evan Prater. And I think, you guys like Camden O'Gara, and he's got some other seniors that have been in that program that have just proven time and time again that it's tough to beat them, and especially in conference play. So another game I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be out at Charlie Frederick Stadium on Saturday afternoon. Lakewood St. Edward is coming down to play Winton Woods. Winton Woods 4-0. Lakewood St. Ed's is 3-1. Obviously, St. Ed's the reigning Division I state champion. A lot of people have pegged this game to be kind of the litmus test, if you will, of Winton Woods. Are they for real here? Obviously, locally, there may not be a better team regardless of division. But Coach Andre Parker, Athletic Director Dave Lumpkin said in the offseason, hey, we are going to play the toughest schedule possible, and arguably it is the toughest schedule in the state of Ohio. Oh, by the way, they go to St. Louis area after this week to play a Christian Brothers team that was 6A state champions a year ago, and they still have Elder and LaSalle on the schedule as well. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup. St. Ed's took care of business against Elder last week up there in Northeast Ohio, but boy, oh boy, I think if Mayan Williams can have a big afternoon and Winton Woods could win this game, it's going to be not only a lot of computer points, but boy, oh boy, a lot of respect. It will be.
Yeah, Mayan 5,000, I like to call him, since Mayan eclipsed that 5,000-yard rushing mark. He's always going to be the focal point when you look at Winton Woods. I mean, he's David Montgomery 2.0. I mean, he's going to Iowa State next year. They play very similar styles, compact, multi-talented kind of back. But it's that Winton Woods defense that I've seen a couple of times this year. They are legit. I mean, they've got size, speed, and when you have Andre Parker in your ear, you're going to be disciplined. So this is a defense that I really am curious to see take on the defending D1 state champ to see if it's legit, because they had some troubles last year in the playoffs. They couldn't really seem to hold back Hoban. So I'm curious to see how this Winton Woods defense attacks this week.
Really shut out Moeller. I mean, really, there was some opportunities for Moeller in the red zone, and that Warriors defense held firm. And so, like you said, you got to give a lot of credit. A lot of the focus is on Michael Wingfield, their outstanding quarterback, and Demir Blankham-C, their wide receiver who is committed to Toledo, but he's got interest from some other big-time programs. And so Mayan Williams earned an Ohio State offer over the weekend as well. So, people want to focus on that, but certainly the defense is going to be one of those things that you want to watch for on Saturday afternoon. So that's all we have for you for today. Keenan, it was great to have you back in the studio.
To be back.
Talking some high school football.
Hey, hopefully the Bengals, maybe they get more Monday night football games as the program gets a little better under Zach Taylor. We can spend a little bit more time here on Wednesday afternoons.
Maybe get some lunch from Chick-fil-A as well.
Hey, now you're talking about language.
Got to get that in before the end of the show. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you next week.